The question now is that vote conservation.
Kia ora tātou.
Chris Carter.
It's an honour, Mr. Chairman, to speak again on conservation, this time in the right place. And I'd like to acknowledge Ngāti Raukawa, who are with us tonight for a very important event that will be coming later. And I have to say that in the 5 years I spent as Conservation Minister, I was privileged to engage with your iwi on a number of conservation issues. Mr. Chairman, the Conservation Act, passed under a national government, says that the Minister of Conservation has a responsibility to be an advocate for the protection of New Zealand's unique biodiversity, to be kaitiaki, if you like, Mr. Chairman, of our lands, particularly the 8 million hectares that are owned by all of us, that are managed by the Department of Conservation. And I want to say to this Minister, who on a personal level can be very charming, but I do think, Mr. Chairman, I do think that she has neglected her responsibilities to be that kaitiaki of the land. You know, we've had a debate in this House earlier this year over Schedule 4 land under the Crown Minerals Act, land that has total protection containing incredibly important biodiversity and recreational sites within our national parks, our scientific reserves and our nature reserves. That Minister, Mr. Chairman, was quite happy to sign over the access to those areas when they were being considered for mining. She now has to co-sign access into conservation land with the Minister of Energy. She has already passed over some of the powers and opportunities she has to be the guardian of our conservation estate. And why is the 8 million hectares owned by all of us and managed by the Department of Conservation so incredibly important? First of all, it is our land, our landscapes, our seascapes, our mountains, our wetlands that define us as a people. Ask any New Zealander here in this chamber tonight or anywhere in our country, what is it about our country that they love? What is it that makes them a Kiwi? And they will tell you, Mr. Chairman, they will mention some aspect of the land, whether it's the mountains, the beach, the forests, the rivers, whatever. It is who we are, and therefore protection of that land, of those natural environments, those marine areas, is so critical, not only for our well-being, but also, of course, for the well-being of future generations. Not just for their intrinsic value, their unique biodiversity, those unique landscapes, but also because of the economic values they bring to our country. $23 billion a year is earned by our tourism industry. Every New Zealander and international visitor who comes to our country has the chance to have a recreational experience, to have a visual experience, to enjoy the great outdoors, which is so much part of that conservation estate. That conservation estate, Mr. Chairman, also, of course, is important for eco-services. Those are things like the management of flooding, the protection against erosion that natural environments that are left undisturbed or are recovering are able to provide. Food sources, whitebait, eels, ducks, pigs, deer that people are able to shoot and hunt are all important opportunities for different New Zealanders and international visitors to be able to enjoy and utilise within the conservation estate. That's why protecting it is so incredibly important. That's why the role of the Minister of Conservation in ensuring that we enhance, protect and indeed improve and add to the conservation estate. The proudest thing that I have ever done at Parliament, and the thing that I will always remember when I leave, is that while I was Minister of Conservation, 360,000 hectares were added to the conservation estate. That stuff, that's land, that's places like Kaikoura Island, Waikowal Bay and Coromandel, land all over New Zealand that now belongs to every New Zealander, that is going to be protected forever. That's the sort of contribution that we have to make, and that was only possible to do that because the Labour-led government poured millions into the acquisition of land and sites so that, yes, it was about ownership. It was about public ownership. It was about providing, saving, protecting those spaces for all New Zealanders forever. I think that if we made any investment in this country, investing in our natural environment is one of the best investments we can make. And finally, I know I've got very little time left, Mr. Chairman, I want to talk about marine protection. You know, When I became Minister of Conservation, we had only 17 marine protected areas. Luckily, when I finished, there was 34, but there's been none since National got in.
The question is that vote conservation stand part of the schedule. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it.